Good morning, everyone. This is the real meaning of corporate social responsibility: to operate in a manner that promotes broad social objectives, including non-market goals, in a way consistent with core business principles, values, and practices. It means much more than simple corporate philanthropy. It demands creativity. Jeffrey Sachs.
There are some concepts that we've been hearing along these masters and that we will be dealing with in our professional lives. Sustainability, corporate social responsibility, CSR, socially responsible investment, social business. What we've tried to do for our project is to integrate these four concepts into a proposal, which is mainstreaming a CSR investment through a social corporation. And we are Mauricio Arce, Javier de Corral, and I, Alba Muñoz, with our tutor, Jorge Serrano.
So what does this mean? Mainstreaming a CSR investment through a social corporation. Our proposal is basically taking a company and having it invest as part of its CSR budget in the creation of a social corporation. This social corporation will be built and will be born to focus on a specific social need. This, in turn, will create external mainstreaming of this action. And afterwards, there will also be internal mainstreaming by the positive effect that this will have on the organizational culture of the original investing company. This investment is going to, in turn, be returned to the original company. What we're going to do now is we're going to go one by one over these concepts, explaining them into more detail.
So, what is a social business? A social business is a concept that is not new, but has been recently popularized by the Nobel Peace Prize winner Mohamed Yunus and the successful case of the Non-Grameen Bank in 2010. A social business is a business that is based on social goals while managing its financial sustainability, yet not seeking for dividends. It has four main characteristics. It needs to balance the three pillars of sustainability: economic, environment, and social. It needs to have a defined strategy with clear business goals, as any other business does. It needs to place its values at the core of its strategy. Why is this? Because as the social business aims toward a social objective, it is even more important to be true to its values and to its beliefs. And finally, a social business will have measurable results. This will help the social business to determine whether or not the social goals I've mentioned are achieved and therefore define its success or its failure.
So how will this investment work? We have created a model that provides the tools to the investing company to create an investment so that they can create a social business to its CSR strategy. This model starts off by analyzing the core business of the investing company. First of all, the mission and vision will give the essence and what the company really represents, and therefore the social business must be aligned with it. The core activities and expertise will determine those key points where the investing company can add more value to the social business created. As we have just seen, social businesses are value-driven, and therefore, by aligning the values of the investing company with those of the social business that is going to be created, it's going to be a much more strong proposal made. And finally, to know the limitations the social business may have and the impact it can have, we're going to study the reach. This is going to be done by a series of indicators, which include the international presence or the workforce they have, among other indicators. Once that is analyzed, the company will have to analyze the CSR. When analyzing the CSR strategy, first of all, we always will analyze the stakeholders and identify the key stakeholders and their key interests. Once this is done, these have to be aligned with the interests of the investing company. What this will create is the materiality analysis, the material issues. This model makes a lot of emphasis on how CSR must be strategic. In order for CSR to be strategic, it has to be always aligned with material issues. It has to respond to material issues. And here is where the social business comes into place. the social business will respond to material issues being part and complementing the CSR strategy. So once these sides are, these two areas are analyzed, it's time to find a social need the social business can tackle through the strengths we've just analyzed. So this is a big overview of the model, and let's see now the other parts of the business.
So when we're referring to internal mainstreaming, again, what we are specifically aiming at is the positive impact on organizational culture itself. Now, how does this happen? First off, by internal involvement of the employees within this action that is being done. This is not only actively, but also passively, which means actually getting awareness towards these employees of what's being done, what the company is actually doing, and its part within this community, society, or wherever it is located. Companies in CSR normally have a lot of investment in volunteer work. So by creating this action, you can actually focus this volunteer work specifically on something. Now, this something will be this social corporation, and whatever is done there then can be more easily measured than just the normal volunteer work that is done by most companies. This will in turn lead to motivation and a further sense of belonging amongst the employees, and this will help as any company have maintained their employees satisfied and overall happy with what the company is doing, which is something sought after by most corporations. Referring to external mainstreaming, what we're saying is that this action is going to be incorporated in this specific social context so that it's going to have tangible social results. I mean, we're actually creating a company. It's something tangible. It's a physical location that is going to stay there and is going to be working within the specific context. It's going to have enduring value because it's going to be working towards these social objectives, and it's going to be continue to be working towards these objectives until they're actually met, or at least it's going to intend to do so. So this is going to have it remain there in time. Because it's designed around a specific social objective for a specific social need, this work that it's going to do to achieve or to reach these objectives is going to in turn help this society, this community where it's located, take some positive steps towards development.
So now to finish with the generic model, we're going to see what are the benefits of this model. In first place, the benefits for the company, the return on investment. This initial investment that the company will do will be entirely paid back in a certain period. The second place would be the creation of a social business will provide competitive advantage to the company. As it is a creative idea, it falls out of the usual CSR initiatives that most companies do. It also has measurable results, which is something that is usually an issue with CSR initiatives, and therefore by creating a social business, you will have tangible results and then easily you can communicate them. And finally, it will provide a positive image to the company. As it is a visible action, it will help the company to manage its risk reputation in the country where it is operating or where the social business will be set. On the other side, the benefits for the community is in first place the stakeholder engagement. The community where the social business is set will be taken into account along the entire process. Not only their interests, but also their concerns are going to be taken into account, and this will help to build this social business. The social business will be an initiative that is sustainable in time. From the financial point of view, as all the profits that are going to be generated will be reinvested in the community, and from the social point of view regarding the impacts. It will also promote the local employment. The social business will intend to generate capacity building between the members of the community and empower them to be part of the social business. And finally, taking all these benefits that I've mentioned for the community into account, it will promote development. It will be established in a specific context, and it will develop this context not only locally, but also regionally. Until this is the generic model that now we're going to see the applied to a specific case.
So this is the generic model we've just seen, a model that can be applied to a company. What we have done is applied this model specifically to the case in Costa Rica. Here we're going to take Intel as the investing company. Intel will invest in the creation of a social corporation. This social business is going to be Emprendetec. Emprendetec will focus itself in a social need in Costa Rica, which is entrepreneurship. This is the general outline of the model, but it will have two effects. First of all, external mainstreaming. While Emprendetec will become a point of reference for entrepreneurs in Costa Rica, and an internal mainstreaming effect into Intel because of two reasons. First of all, Intel as the investing company will have boards, will have members in the board of directors of Emprendetec. And the second reason, as we've seen, Intel will provide volunteers into Emprendetec. So this is the general outline of our case study, and now we'll see how we got to this idea.
Okay, so why did we choose Intel as the investment company? Well, Intel is an American company and the world's largest producer of semiconductor microchips. With a history of more than 40 years, Intel has managed to position itself in a wide variety of markets, ranging from microchips to softwares. This graph shows the net revenue of Intel from the past 5 years, and we can see, well, from the past years, we can see that Intel has a record growth rate from 2009-2010 of 24%. Now that we had an overview of what is Intel, we're going to have a look at their materiality analysis. This graph shows what are the main interests of Intel's stakeholders, together with the main interests of Intel as a business. In the upper right corner, we can see the most relevant aspects, the ones that are of value and of interest for both the society at large and for Intel as a business. These are the aspects on which the CSR from Intel will be focused on. For our case, we would like to highlight the aspect of supporting education and technology access, as it has helped us to define which is the area on which we would like to focus for our social business idea. As I've mentioned, Intel is an international company. It employs more than 80,000 people worldwide in more than 50 countries, around 300 facilities. One of these countries is Costa Rica. Intel established in Costa Rica in 1996, and it has at the moment around 2,800 employees, direct employees, and 2,000 indirect employees. Most of the facilities in Costa Rica from Intel are assembly for the microchips, test, and research. One important fact for our case would be that Intel Costa Rica invests around $1 million supporting education programs every year.
So now, following the model that we have previously presented to you, comes the point where you have to determine what the social need is going to be. So according to the Global Competitive Index developed by the World Economic Forum, Costa Rica is placed on the second stage of competitiveness. Now, these stages by the World Economic Forum are based on Michael Porter's 3 stages of development. This is number 1, which is a factor-driven economy, which is mostly based on primary activities, which would be agriculture. The second one, where the economy is transitioned towards more industrialized activities. And the third one, which, as its name states, is more based on innovation. So according to this, we have Costa Rica located in the efficiency-driven stage. So it's a country that needs to do actions that will lead it towards the innovation-driven stage. Sultan X, who is a leading author in terms of entrepreneurship and his relationship with development, argues that precisely entrepreneurship is one of these tools and one of the most important tools for countries to actually transition to this stage. So this gives us the social need, actually promoting entrepreneurship to lead the country from the second stage onto the innovation stage of development. So what do we have now? We have a company, which is Intel. We have determined the social need, which is entrepreneurship, and this leads us to proposing Emprendetec. Emprendetec is going to be focused, is going to have the mission to provide the technological tools to entrepreneurs and help them take their businesses and ideas to the next level. Its vision is going to be become a launchpad for entrepreneurs and a reference point for the promotion and support of businesses looking to go beyond.
So how will Emprendetec achieve this? Emprendetec is a physical location, a center where entrepreneurs in Costa Rica will be offered integrated business plans and advice on how ICT tools can make their businesses thrive. These will be given out by volunteers in the mandatory community service programs in Costa Rica, which are advancing their careers in marketing, business, programming, or design. Along with this, Emprendetech will offer a web page. This web page will have a tool of crowdsourcing so that the high potential projects can be financed if needed. These two lines of work will provide the sustainability of the project and are going to be offered at a very, very low cost for entrepreneurs. There's the social mission. But therefore, how are we going to finance this? Through cross-financing. Cross-financing means that we're going to offer some services at a higher price for different target groups so that they can finance the cheap ones. This will be mainly renting the space of Emprendetech for companies to do conferences, workshops, or meetings. But why not, why not see how Emprendetech will look like? We've designed Emprendetech from scratch, and this is the creative area. Here is where the entrepreneurs will meet with the volunteers and will be offered the integrated business plans. It's an area of creativity where entrepreneurs also will meet as a networking space. This second area is my favorite one. It's the workshop area. It's where the ICT tools will be given. This is where the workshops will be performed and where entrepreneurs will learn how these tools will help them businesses thrive. For the cross-financing is the conference area, the one that is going to be rented for the enterprises that can develop their conferences or their meeting points. This is where the cross-financing comes into place. And finally, the office area, obviously, is where the two permanent workers of Emprendetech will work, performing administrative activities. This is how Emprendetech will look like.
Now we're going to have a look at the financial part. After doing an in-depth analysis of Emprendetech's financial plan, the final amount that is necessary for the initial investment of Intel adds up to $56,600. This amount is the necessary amount to cover the startup expenses until Emprendetech is financially sustainable. This graph shows the expected net profits of Emprendetech, where we can see that it starts generating profits after 3 years and a half. After this point, the profits monthly distribution will be as follows. A 60% will be the payback for the initial investment of Intel. A 30% will be to an annual Emprendetech award for selected projects and selected entrepreneurs to help them and give potential to their businesses. And finally, a 10% will be reinvested in the center for possible improvements. This other graph shows what is the accumulative payback that is expected, and taking into account this $56,600, the expected time for the investment to be given back to Intel will be of 10 years.
To conclude, first off, CSR is a term that has been coined by the corporate world in the past years. Now, the thing is that there's a lot of repetitiveness in the actions that are being done in CSR. And there's a lot of room to move around in CSR, a lot of things to play with, a lot of room for actually creativity to come in. Actions like these, new actions, are not only positive for the communities, for the societies where they're going to be developed, but actually also for the company itself, allowing it to be set apart from the rest in a very competitive environment as it is already. Having tangible results is vital for CSR actions because of the credibility that it will give them. So looking to have real social impact is going to go towards the interest of the company every single time. To efficiently adapt a CSR action within a specific social context is always going to be directly proportional to the success of its social impacts. As we were seeing with the practical case that we had, multinationals and development are clearly related, and multinationals should look to do actions that go in line with the interest of the country where it's located. There's a symbiotic relationship between where the companies are located and its host country. And creating awareness of this symbiosis between them is important, and companies should really look toward actions that go in the interest of both. So with this, we finish our presentation. We thank you for your attention. Thank you.
espera, abajo. Ahí, cerro. No.
Yeah? No.
No.
See? No.
No.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I thought it was a great presentation, great visuals, and your kind of presentation was very well done. Worked very well. I mean, the way we've organized normally, obviously you were not here last year, but normally what we do is there is a presentation from the groups, and then we have 5 minutes for questions, mainly from the tutor and the people that are here on this row. We would like to maybe open it up. I mean, being very conscious of time limits, and so maybe we'll open up to questions to everyone else. But first of all, questions here from the tutors and the evaluators, in a way, the people that are going to give a mark. Shall I start myself, or? Yeah, so I thought it was very good, and again, congratulations on the visuals, on the way you presented. That worked very well. I think you demonstrate quite a good understanding, or full understanding of CSR and the implications with core business and so on. So I think it was very good that way. I've got a question, which I guess maybe it's quite a fundamental question, is, you know, why the social entrepreneur? A lot of the things you described to me were business as usual, kind of philanthropic activity from a company. So I would like you to explain to me what is different in your proposal from more traditional activity that companies do, you know, and we normally call it philanthropy. So what is the difference? Shall we take more questions, or shall we get them to answer this?
Yeah, strategic. I think what we have seen along these masters is that philanthropy most of the time is not strategic. It's just giving out because society asks for it, for the giving and the image part of it. But what the model we've created, and here we've just seen a sneak peek of it, it's create a social business which is incredibly strategic along with the company. It's the strategic point of view which kind of differentiated from philanthropy itself. Here, taking into account material issues, taking into account how the actual CSR strategy of the company works, taking into account stakeholders and how the business works from inside, I think that's the main point that adds value to our proposal. It's not just giving money, doing something nice, doing something for image. But along that, we do something nice. We do something that it's really, that gives image, that exposes the company a lot, because it creates a company that it's mainstream. By this we mean that it stays in the community. It's kind of a reference point for the community. So I think that's the big difference between philanthropy, which is kind of one-time donation or 2 times, but maybe in crisis it won't go on. Here we're proposing creating a company that even in crisis it will have to find business as usual solutions for a social objective. So I think that's the difference of our proposal, and that's where I think it's the added value of what we've created.
Just if I may add just real quick, and to emphasize something that Javier actually already said, the thing is that by creating a company, and not just with the practical case, but with the model itself in a generic way, it's really a long-term action that you're doing, because you're creating a company that is going to remain there. And I think that's the basic difference that it makes with philanthropy, which normally does not have that long-term view and usually focuses on immediate problems and not on long-term solutions.
Okay, hi guys, congratulations for the work and the presentation. Congratulations to Jorge, thank you. I have some questions to ask you. Anyone can answer. Why Intel? Did you know someone there? Is Emprendetec something that already exists, or did you make Emprendetec from the scratch, as you said? Are you going, if it's the case, are you going to propose this to Intel in Costa Rica for real? And the last question would be, a part of the benefits for Intel, what are like the accurate benefits for the local community where Emprendetec is located?
Okay, if I remember, why did we choose Intel? Well, first of all, we were looking for a country on which we had a connection. Like we would know which would be Costa Rica or Spain, as Mauricio is from Costa Rica. And from there, we looked for companies that will give us, that will analyze in their CSR and their core activities that will be of value for us, that could have a positive impact and a role to play and to actually be able to, in real, create a social business. From then, we had some companies from Spain and from Costa Rica, and as Mauricio had some contacts from Costa Rica and from Intel, we thought it was the best option. So we got in contact with Intel Costa Rica, and we made a little proposal on what we were going to do. We had already the idea on more or less what was going to be the business plan and how was this going to work for both. And they wrote us back, and they liked very much the idea and let us do for the academic purposes, but we're not promising to be able to do it for real, but it's not a no, but it's not a yes. And yeah, that was the reason why we chose Intel. And regarding the benefits, or if you want to add something.
One second, I just want to add one thing. The paper we gave you at the entrance, that was actually our pitch to Intel in Costa Rica, and that's what they accepted. They said they really believed in it. It's very condensed, but they said, okay, we really believe in it, as you said, and we can work together. We don't promise anything, they said, obviously, but we will be really interested in the outcome of this project.
And something I forgot, Intel already has a social business created as part of its CSR, but in another country. So we thought also that it's an idea that for them it has already worked very well, so it could also perfectly be replicated in another country with other completely different context and needs, but that could be easily be created.
And with the final part of your question, well, as we've already said, the Emprendedec does not exist. It's our proposal. And the benefits for the local community in Costa Rica, there's a lot of entrepreneurship, and in the past years there has been a lot of push in entrepreneurship, but it's only from you could say from people that have gone through university. So in local communities that have that are entrepreneurs but base themselves on just very local commerce, they don't really have the tools, especially in technology, to take this next step. So that's what we actually focus on and try to solve with this.
Nice answers, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I want to really thank you because I have enjoyed a lot all the time that we have spent during this project. So you have managed to create a very nice working environment, and I want to really thank you. I just have a very short question. Alba, you have talked about all the advantages that this model has for the companies and for the society in general. But in the current financial crisis that we are experiencing, especially in Europe and also in the United States, how this model will give advantages for the CSR strategy of a company? Because now it's very difficult to finance activities, to finance investments. How would it operate?
Well, I think it goes mainly for the part of the return on investment. As we've seen that, or along the masters, we've seen that a lot of CSR initiatives are merely investments that have no return, that have the return of value for the company, but not a financial return. Therefore, in crisis, they have to cut budget, and most of the times the budget is cut from the social part. Because it's not giving a tangible value for the company, that it is difficult to measure, I've said, for the social impact, and therefore it is not there anymore. So the idea was to create something that remains in time, no matter what happens, because one time this is created, it will be able to continue by itself with the finance and the business plan model, with the cross-financing. We believe that is something that no matter what happens around the society regarding the crisis, it will be able to succeed. And also, taking into account the most of the services that will finance the center will also be given from Intel, like we could say, companies that are already working with Intel. So it will be easy to find new clients from this cross-finance part. Yeah.
Congratulations, really fantastic presentation in every sense. The only thing is, my passion was social entrepreneurship. This is a really spectacular CSR project, but I fail to see the social enterprise in it. So I'm looking at the revenue streams and the social impact. The social impact, I understand, is promoting entrepreneurship, one, and which is not quite as broad as it could be. And the other thing is, in the excellence that you presented, the other point is revenue streams. And the main revenue stream, I understand, is renting the space out. And
Yeah.
perhaps there's other revenue streams that you can present there. So this is just the real focus of a social enterprise. But as a CSR project, it's outstanding, really, really excellent.
It's not just I want to make a point clear. It's not just about promoting entrepreneurship. We're using Intel as the investing company. Intel, it's ICT, it's microchips, and there's a big focus on how new ICT tools can help this entrepreneurship even go further on. So it's not just promoting entrepreneurship. It's using, again, to be material, Intel's strong points, Intel's expertise and their know-how to make their businesses thrive. The other thing about the financing, financing will come through renting. We want. I mean, this is the most we could do with our skills, but we found the place for this center. We actually see where it is. It's in San Jose, in an area near San Jose and Intel, which is a beautiful area. The center, we've planned the budget so that the center, it's kind of spectacular, where companies, where multinationals that are placed in Costa Rica would love to go there. And we've done a detailed plan with different pricings. Ones are for big conferences, for the conference room. Then there's renting spaces, and through all of those, in our scenarios we created, it is sustainable. It will get enough to be able to pay back the very low cost. And again, I think we have to emphasize it's really based on volunteers. In Costa Rica, it is mandatory for university students to at least do 6 months of volunteering programs. So kind of the big expenses of a company are workforce, and in this one, it's not, because it's mostly through volunteers of universities and Intel. So therefore, the expenses are not that high. It's just the rental, it's most of the expense, and the 2 permanent workers. But the other people that are going to be working there, it's no expense nearly at all. So that's why, if you have something to add.
Yeah, and the core business, which is for the entrepreneurs, it is charged to them. They pay for it. That's why we've compared what it's more or less the average. If they would like it to do it and Emprendetech does not exist, how much would they have to pay? And it's quite high. Yeah. So most of them, for example, people that have a shop and don't know how to use the cashier, an electronic cashier, or these kind of things. It takes them a lot of time, so they cannot afford to pay for these services or to have a course regarding this. So we've tried to lower this price a lot. I think the final price is $50 for a package adapting to their needs. And the idea is to give this to the entrepreneurs and finance them through the other segments.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I think it was a fantastic way to start the morning. Very good presentation, very good project, and I hope the remaining groups don't feel too much pressure now, but that's part of the game. And so thank you very much, guys, and well done.
Thank you.